ওয়েলকাম টু দেশ বিদেশ। আশা করি আপনারা সকলে ভালো আছেন। দেশ বিদেশের পক্ষ থেকে আপনাদেরকে জানাচ্ছি শুভেচ্ছা এবং ভালোবাসা। আজকে আমরা খুবই একটা সেন্সিটিভ ইস্যু নিয়ে কথা বলবো। আমি কোনোদিন ভাবি নাই কি আমি এই টপিক আমাদের দেশ বিদেশের অনুষ্ঠানে নিয়ে আসব। বর্তমান পরিস্থিতির কারণে এই বিষয় নিয়ে আলোচনা করা খুবই গুরুত্বপূর্ণ হয়ে দাঁড়িয়েছে। উপস্থিত সুধীবৃন্দ, আজকের টপিক হচ্ছে racism, discrimination and hatred. In the 21st century, it is ironic that we still need to bring this issue and face every walk of our life. Racism is real, it exists, and it's painful. Almost all of us have lived through this experience. Ladies and gentlemen, discrimination has been there since the 1600s, and we still face it today. We won't be able to change our past. We want to bring a light through our program so we can bring a change for generations to come. In the light of discrimination and racism, our City of Vancouver Mayor, Kennedy Stewart, declared May 29th Day of Action Against Racism in Vancouver. Stewart also issued a multilingual proclamation declaring that Friday, May 29th, will be a day of action against racism, and that as a city of reconciliation, Vancouver is committed to addressing racism and hate. As a city, we need to unite to address racism and recognize that people of all ethnicities, cultures, and faiths contribute to the Vancouver strength and well-being, said Kennedy. Leaving you with these thoughts, it's time for a short break. We will be back after the song.
Around the world and the universe, we are one. North, south, east to west, we are one. Glowing hearts full of love, we are one. A blessing from above.
No matter where we're from, we are one. We are one. We are one.
We are one.
Oh, Canada, our precious native land, our Canada. We all work hand in hand when we stand together. Nothing can go wrong. All the people from around the world, that's what makes us strong. This place we all call our home, the land of the free. Together we can build our lives, a place for you and me. Yeah.
We are one. 150th all across the nation. Around the world and the universe, we are one.
We are one, yeah.
North, south, east and west, we are one. Come on, world, let's join the celebration. Glowing hearts full of love, we are one.
Hearts so full of
Blessing from
love.
above.
No matter where you're from, we are one. We are one. We are one.
We are one.
Oh, Canada, a beautiful place to be. Our Canada, there's so much here to see. We have each other and have so much to share. With our hearts together, we'll show the world we care. Where everyone is equal, all religion and all race. This is our home we love. Canada's our place.
150th all across the nation. Around the world and the universe, we are one.
Around the world,
North, south, east and west, we are one. Come on, world, let's join the celebration. Glowing hearts full of love, we are one.
around the universe.
Blessings from above.
No matter where you're from, we are one. We are one. We are.
Forever forever grateful to indigenous people, where every culture is treated equal. So many faces from different places, rich in heritage, religion, and races. True patriot love from far and wide. You know that hockey is a joy and pride, with open arms from coast to coast. 150th, we be here to host. God keep our land glorious and free. Compassionate, we stand on guard for thee. Oh Canada, this is our celebration. We are one love and one nation. Come on world, let's join the celebration. Around the world and the universe, we are one.
We are one.
North, south, east and west, we are one. 50th all across the nation.
Glowing hearts full of love. We are one.
Welcome back. Let's look a little into racism in Canada and its history. Racism has started, or perhaps existed, in Canada since the 1800s and prior. There is a long history of Chinese in British Columbia that began when Chinese workers first arrived in 1788 to establish fur trade settlements. Chinese Canadians were segregated socially, economically, and politically. For example, how Chinese Canadians were not permitted to swim along with other races. In 1911, an order in council was drafted prohibiting the landing of any immigrant belonging to the Negro race. In 1914, Komagata Maru, 376 people from India were detained on the ship for 2 months and then denied entry into Canada. White Vancouverites were alarmed. Hindu invaders, now in the city of Harbour, on a ship, screamed a front page headline in the Vancouver Sun. In fact, most of the passengers were Sikhs, not Hindus, but few would ever set foot on the Canadian soil. The federal government refused to let the ship land, and the ship languished in the harbour for 2 months. The passengers went on a hunger strike, trying to force the government to accept them. When it looked like the ship might sail to Japan, they seized the vessel from its Japanese crew. The government didn't blink. Eventually, it sent a warship, the HMCS Rainbow, to force the ship to leave. History of racism and discrimination in Canada doesn't end here. It's time for a short break, and we will be back with some more history on racism and discrimination.
ஆனந்தம் கொண்டாட்டம் உலகின் உச்சம் நீ வந்தாரை அரவணைக்கும் நம்மை இணைக்கும் சொர்க்கம் நீ.
Welcome back. Racism is not an easy topic to talk about, but this needs to be talked about and it needs to be addressed. Here are a few more facts in the history of Canada. During World War I, Ukrainian Canadians were branded as enemy aliens. Thousands were interned and 50,000 had to wear a special identification badge. In 1923, the Chinese Immigration Act was passed, stopping all Chinese immigration entirely. In 1939, Canada refused entry to thousands of Jewish refugees escaping prosecution from the Nazis. They were sent back, and 3/4 of them died at the hands of the Nazis. During World War II, Japanese Canadian internment. The Canadian government ordered all persons of Japanese racial origin to be removed from the restricted zone within 100 miles of the west coast of British Columbia. In 2009, Tamil refugees arrived by ship to Vancouver Island. They were detained by the government that claimed that they might be terrorists or criminals. In 2017, Quebec's Bill 62, the religious neutrality law, banned face covering for public workers and anyone receiving public services. Canada as a nation, we are known to the world for being kind, polite, and generally very accepting of all ethnicities. However, the treatment of Canada's First Nation population seemed to suggest otherwise. Throughout the history, we have shown undeniable amounts of discrimination towards Aboriginal people. Aboriginal culture was routinely insulted, and many students were beaten if they spoke their own language. Aboriginal women are murdered and go missing in Canada at a much higher rates than non-Aboriginal women, a fact that many believe stems from the impact of racism. Black Canadians have faced higher investigation from police, and reports show evidence of racial profiling. Black Canadians have a long history of discrimination and racism in Canada. Jewish students were prohibited from studying at Canadian universities. This brings us to what the present situation is in Canada and our neighboring ally. But before we start talking about that, it's time to enjoy a song. We will be right back.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins that go against our skin become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. One son died, his spirit is revisiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots we on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be.
Welcome back. What is racism? Racism is an ideology that holds that humans can be divided into different racial groups, each with characteristics that are inherited and unchanging. Racism argues that those differences explain inequality in societies. Racism is universal. Let's see what conspires to racism. Racists reject social integration because they believe the mixing of groups would result in the degeneration of the superior group. Today, racism and discrimination is more commonly experienced by visible minorities. Canada was ranked among the most racially tolerated societies in the world. Unfortunately, this systematic racism still exists. Our government has come a long ways, but we still have a lot of work to do. এটার পাশাপাশি আমি আরেকটু বলতে চাই। Racism, discrimination বা hatred শুধু ভিন্ন ভিন্ন রেসের মধ্যে অন্তর্ভুক্ত নয়। আমরা এটা জানি কি racism, discrimination বা hatred আমাদের নিজস্ব রেসের মধ্যে বিরাজ করে। আমরা রেসিজম নিয়ে অনেক বড় বড় কথা বলতে পারি। হোয়াইট, ব্রাউন, চাইনিজ, ব্ল্যাক, জিউস, ব্লা ব্লা ব্লা। কিন্তু একটা সেকেন্ডের জন্য আমাদেরকে নিজেদের উপরে একটু রিফ্লেক্ট করা উচিত কি আমরা আমাদের নিজেদের ছোট্ট একটা কমিউনিটিতে ঠিক আছি? কি আমরা জেলাসি, হেট্রেড, রেসিজম বা ডিসক্রিমিনেশন থেকে মুক্ত আছি? কি আমরা আমাদের ভাই বোনকে টেনে নিচু করছি নাকি তাদের পাশে দাঁড়িয়ে আছি? আমরা কেন অন্যের সফলতায় খুশি না হয়ে জেলাস হই? অন্যকে প্রশংসা না করে কি করে তাকে নিচে নামানো যায়? এই মনোভাবের পরিবর্তন আসা উচিত। The history of racism has been there for over 500 years, and I understand it's not going to go away overnight. To come over this obstacle, the solution lies within ourselves, and it starts from you and I. Let's work together, make it a better place for all of us. এটা বলে আজকের অনুষ্ঠানটি শেষ করলাম। আশা করি আপনারা সকলে ভালো থাকবেন। আবারও দেখা হবে।
You Indian? Do you wanna be Indian? Are you Indian? You wanna be Indian? Huh? I am me, trying to fit in as an Indian citizen. I can't pardon your ignorance for thinking I'm an immigrant. I live by the border, the left side. Of course you judge me by my face, so it clearly makes you a racist. Arunachal, Assam, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Tripura, Sikkim and Nagaland. This is the Northeast, seven sisters, Southern's land. We belong right here, not China or Japan. No. Living better, but you feeling bitter. Little eyes, but I can see the bigger picture. A bigger vision, maybe one day we can be together, coexisting in harmony, cause we just sick of terror. जोश में होश खो के लड़कियों को देता दोष, उनके ड्रेस से बहुत ज्यादा छोटी तो तेरी सोच है। इंसाफ के खातिर रोड पे रैली करेंगे रोज, जब तक मिले मुल्जिम को दंड रोक सके तो रोक ले। We were historically oppressed so horribly, in excess, inequality and a mess. Discriminated as minority, suppressed, so the authority chose to give the priorities to us. Simple words, we deserve all the quota reserved. Simple words, we deserve all the quota reserved. We ain't living off sympathy. If you ever feel differently, go and raise the issue at the ministry instantly. Some of us try to fit in, some of us try to be different. Some of us wanna be Western, cause you don't let us feel Indian. All I'm trying to say is you put us in this very condition. Why don't you make up your mind and then make a decision and let us be who we wanna be, really from within. Let us be somebody with no restrictions, so be the victim. This is the very reason for our region's terrorism. We fighting for our rights cause the government isn't, so fuck the system. Hail Mary, this smells hairy and smells very shitty. No wonder our women find you real scary. When Gandhi got thrown on the train cause of his skin color, that's the type of racism that's always been under. The Britishers divided us and then left, and up until this day we still follow their steps. We are slaves to our pride, where innocence pay the price. Violently take a life, another mother she cries, another daughter is raped, another son has just died. All of the sacrifice just to prove who is right. What's the point to be alive if there's the meaning of life? If we keep up with the fight and never see eye to eye, let us be human. As humans we empathize. It's time to bring a change. It starts with you and I am Indian.
When it comes to fashion and variety, there's only one name: Quality Garments. A choice of desi fashion shopping for every family member and every woman's first choice. At Quality, you can find vast variety of loose fabric, ready-made suits, lehengas, saris, kids wear, men wear, bridal wear, sherwanis, and much more. For visiting back home, we have many gift items including jackets, tracksuits, and much more. One-stop shopping for all your needs. Don't forget, one and only Quality Garments.